We are honored to have Cecil Bullard. Let's just bring in Cecil. Cecil, are you there?
I'm here, buddy. And I'm just going to correct you one little bit. It's
Please.
Bullard.
What is it?
You mispronounce it. Bullard, like
Bullard.
Bull.
There we go.
Sorry.
Bullard. No, I want to get it right. My name is always Jack. In fact, I tried to legally change it because nobody got it right.
There you go.
But the Institute for Automotive Business Excellence, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But let's just dive in. We had mentioned that folks get extremely frustrated with their vehicle service. Now, let's exclude those that are frustrated because, there's a wallet issue. What are you seeing? You've got hundreds of shop owners throughout the country that you work with. What's the common issue that you're seeing from a shop, an automotive service facility that seems to be parlaying the bad experience? And I know we can open that up a little bit.
I think there's multiple reasons, but to pinpoint, probably it's just poor communication, and it's also creating the wrong expectation or having the wrong expectation. So years ago, a friend of mine, said, Cecil, man, you're really frustrated in a management capacity. I'm managing people. They're not doing what I want. Just really frustrated. And he said to me something that has kind of stuck with me my entire life, and that is, if you have the wrong expectation and you haven't clarified that with them, then you're going to be really frustrated the rest of your life. So you have, there's no certification, no licensing. Anybody can basically claim they're a technician. Anybody can open a shop almost with no experience whatsoever.
We got to jump in there. I want to jump in. That is such a critical deal. The consumer will have how many hours, Susie, to get your nail certification? A couple hundred hours? To be able to paint nails, you've got to have and the hygiene and all that, and the hair salon and all that. What is your thought? You worked a garage for many years. You ran our store down in Chandler. It ever come across your mind that we should be licensed and maybe that'll be the game changer?
God, that's hard to say. But aren't we already licensed with the technicians training?
No, and that's voluntary. Cecil, this is a question I have for you. And I'm sure you've posed it. I've been right here, state capital of Arizona, trying to push for licensing. Of course, we got kicked to the curb quick like. What is the sentiment from the automotive industry? Why haven't hundreds, if not thousands of shop owners grabbed each other's hands and said, bam, let's do this?
Well, first of all, we're not hand grabbers. So as an industry, we're very independent. Independent automotive, that's what we are. We don't want anybody telling us what to do. We're just not hand grabbers. And if you looked at the industry, I think if you surveyed the industry, half the industry would be, I think certification lines would be a great idea, and the other half would say no. And I think in part it's because a lot of the guys that have been in this business for a long time don't know that they could, quote unquote, qualify, right?
That's what I'm thinking, Cecil. I'm thinking that a lot of these mandates, let's just call it state by state and not a federal mandate, because we don't want anything, most of us, controlled in that. But I think you're right. I think, in fact, as we saw with recalls, Susie, I don't know if you remember Takata, there was some talk about, we need help from the aftermarket. And the bottom line is the independents are servicing, 70% of the marketplace or whatever it is. I don't think the powers that be want to distort. I'd love it because I'd have a lot more work. I'd have to open up 3 more locations because 10 of those guys went out of business.
Right.
You see? But Cecil, I think some of that is they probably are aware that they could probably break the way we fix cars, I guess, maybe.
But I think if you look at it, it's going to happen anyway. And you guys were talking about, self-driving cars, no driverless cars. Think about a technician that doesn't really know what he's doing working on a driverless car, and then that car goes out on the road and it kills people. That's inevitable. I mean, and then what's going to happen is the government's going to jump in and go, well, somebody that worked on this that wasn't qualified. And then all of a sudden the government's going to jump in and give us certification and licensing. And by the way, when did the government ever do anything efficiently and inexpensively? Right? They don't know what's best. Never have, never will. And so with the technology changing, if you think about, Frank, you and I, we've been in this industry for a long time. I can talk about carburetors and points and condensers and, et cetera. And the technology is multiplying so dramatically. There are technicians out there that 2/3 of the things on the car they can't work on because they can't program the car. They can't tell it what they did. And the separation in the industry is going to be that the guys that have the education and have the knowledge and the guys that don't. And I see a huge separation coming in the industry because if you don't have the money for the training and if you don't understand how to really follow the manufacturer's, process to diagnose and fix the car correctly, you're going to be out of a job. I mean, Frank, when was the last time you listened to a cassette?
Yeah, I got some old Dolly Parton stuff, but but you're right. We have to keep up with it. Here's an interesting statistics. Of course, we are partners. A lot of work with Apex, SEMA, Auto Care. The number 2 independents regarding the dollar value of business time wasted in the cost of not being able to program and do what they have to do because we do not have unfettered access to the information. And so my consumer family behind the wheel, I'm talking to you right now. Some of your delays because we are struggling getting everything that we need. So that cost, that number is north of $1 billion, Susie, across the country for independents who spent 2 to 3 hours, didn't get anywhere, wanted to save face, had to send it to the dealer, program it, do what they got to do because they didn't have the information. Cecil, I think that's what you're speaking on. And if you're interested for more, I invite you listening to get on to Auto Care, sign the pledge. It goes right to your congressperson to get behind. I know SEMA's behind some things. But Cecil, I think most servicing the consumer in a somewhat positive vibe, not a perfect vibe, but they're local service individual company that wants to do right. Sometimes they don't know, and we're going to get to that, productivity and efficiencies and stuff, why it falls apart. But most people want to take care of people. Where they fall apart is they didn't understand there has to be bones to a process, so it goes away from, we talked about this in the garage a lot. How does Susie not attack Frank and Frank not attack Susie like a great coach that says, hey, brother, we got a game plan right here. Hey, sister, we got a game plan. Do you find, Cecil, with your coaching groups, and you do a phenomenal job, and with the vast experience you have, it comes down to that? There's just really no plan, and it's like a bunch of jazz musicians improvising over what sounds good, what feels good. Is this why the consumer's getting the short change? Because as an industry, we are just broken in our processes?
So, that's part of it, but also I think you don't have real communicators at the front counter. We do a lot of communication education. You don't have people at the front counter that know how to really communicate, really listen, and help the consumer understand what needs to happen, how it's going to happen, how long it's going to take, et cetera.
I think that's the best point right there.
Yeah.
It is the front counter.
100%.
It is. And I think that's the future. The real difference is going to be those people that, deliver really great customer service are going to be ones that are going to be very successful, and the ones that can't are going to go away.
Yeah, for 10 years, Cecil, 10 years solid that I can speak on this is hospitality types for us. We can always train on other stuff, but let me ask you this, because we got folks listening now, and they're getting ready to take their car in for service, and they've been going to a regular place, and maybe that date over the years is starting to get a little grumpy, and they're thinking about cheating on that automotive service facility. What can they ask? Do you think the consumers are not armed up to ask the right questions? Let's start in the consumer's head.
I I would tell you the consumer doesn't have any clue, really, in most cases.
That's true.
What to ask.
That is true.
We've been training with our marketing people to ask for, how do I get a cheap oil change? And by the way, the oil change is no longer the most important thing on taking care of a car. You know, when we were doing oil changes in the 70s and 80s, those cars lasted 100,000 miles at best.
And we could abuse it. We could abuse it. We could be like, you'd be at the dinner table. You're hanging out with your family. This one's like, I got my 77 truck all changed every year. This one says, nope, every 2 years. Cecil stands up. He says, nope, every 8 to 10 years I change my oil. And that sucker would keep going. Cecil, give me a quick moment. Let's get this call. I wonder who's trying to call in. I'll take the call in. Bring this caller in. We can handle 2 lines if Cecil's still there. Aiden, go ahead and help DJ AC out. But isn't that the fact, Cecil? And as you were saying, as you're progressing along, that oil change is currently not the big meal that you think it is, and I've taken care of my car. Talk on that further, Cecil.
Well, again, you go back to, in the 70s and 80s, I was doing oil changes because that was the thing to do. Today, it's about maintaining the car, and the oil change is an aside. You got to do that.
So when you say maintain the vehicle and oil change is not the most important, what is the maintenance then?
So having somebody that knows and understands your make and model of car,
right,
and they know what's likely to go wrong. We know statistically. I mean, if you talk to Frank and I, it's like, when do you change this? Well, about eight years old at the most, coolant hoses are going to start going bad on your car. Where you guys are at, it's probably sooner.
Yeah,
well, here's the separation, and I want to bring Greg Buckley. We're honored to have Greg Buckley. Bring him in. This is live radio.
Greg Buckley.
Is Greg? Bring him in. Greg, are you there?
I'm here.
Greg.
Dang, mayor. We got the mayor from Wilmington, Delaware.
What's that, Pumpkin?
Well, you've got an icon with you, and I said, wow. I said, Cecil's really, laying it out there, and he's so correct. And then I get to hear Susie again. I'm like, I'm all excited. This is great.
Oh, I love you.
Let's regroup. Greg, hang tight. We're going to finish this thought. Cecil had mentioned something, and I want to say how we saw this evolve. And I'm talking to my soccer moms. I'm talking to all my fleet family driving 19 plumbing trucks. You get what I'm saying to you. It's about where of this ideology to your wallet are you going to stand? Are you going to run to failure, or is it preventative? And I think what Cecil is saying is, as the oil change has evolved, it's really not a change, it's service. And the question I have, and I'm going to start with Greg Buckley, how does the consumer, in all fairness to the consumer, they couldn't care less, they want what's in it for me, did they take care of me? Were they happy people not missing teeth? And they're willing to pay for that, okay? Mm-hmm. But what is the difference, Greg, between a quick drive-through lube shop like a cheeseburger experience and then coming to my place or your place or Cecil's hundreds of great top-notch garages in his coaching groups? Because people come in and say, I just need it all changed. Sit down and I'll wait for it. Greg, can you tell me? Because the consumers, they don't see a difference. What's the difference between that oil change and
I think Cecil hit it on the nail on the head. It's educating the consumer at the counter. The counter must be well informed. They have to be able to relate in a conversation that both will understand. And we go from there. The oil change, the spark plugs, the tune-up, the nomenclatures that we've grown up with and have had to put up with. We've changed. The technology has changed. The intervals have changed. We haven't changed the names of the services.
All right, I have a problem. I'm coming into your garage, Greg. I love you to death, and let's role play on this. And Cecil, you can jump in, and Susie, we're just going to do this dance, okay? I don't really care about what you said. I know that my kids got to get to college tomorrow morning. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you're getting too heady? And as a follow-up to Cecil, do you feel that's a big problem? You mentioned communication. Are we just getting too fancy heady with people? Greg, what are you doing in your garage to pacify me, to get things done?
Yeah, we're showing you as many tables and as reasons why we want to maintain things. We want to prepare you on each service in. We want to make sure that, hey, if there is something that is going to require or need attention, in the future, we want to prepare you. We want to show you. We want to be able to at least explain to you some of the reasons why these issues are important. You want the value out of the car. You want your 12 plus years. You're not interested in spending another $60,000, $70,000 on average. You're not interested in another loan. You can get down to the financial side. You got your cents per miles driven. You got your cost factors there. Education is key. We all agree with that. It's just a matter of how you explain it and the tools that you have at the counter to do that. Not just at the counter, but through your social presence, through your web presence, how you represent your company, how your technicians and service advisors talk.
But see, Greg, the thing is this: the consumer, for a lot of us, we believe I'm a businessman.
Yeah.
I'm a businesswoman. I'm the expert. Step aside. You don't know. Cecil, help me out.
Frank. No, help me out. Do you like it when your customer comes in after having already worked on the car themselves and now you got to fix it?
Oh.
Well, let me tell you how we handle that. We have some extra deep coffee. We give them like 18 espresso shots. We bring him out. We have a trampoline. We put him on the trampoline. He bounces up and down like a maniac. That is trained. And I get you. We're training for that. But go ahead.
Hang on. Am I the professional or not? Do you trust me or not? Right? That's what it's all about. And if I'm the professional, I'm not going to let you get away with just doing an oil change and leaving the shop and thinking your car's better. Because having done this, I don't know, 40 plus years, how many times have I, had a customer come back 2 weeks later with a different problem on their car or a problem that we didn't see that now has manifested itself, and they're holding me responsible. So am I the professional or not? Am I going to tell you, look, you may not want to hear this, but these are things that you need to be concerned about if you want this vehicle to last and if you want your daughter to be safe at college and have a car that starts all the time and lasts as long as she needs it, right? Or am I just going to say, okay, well, all you want's an oil change, so I'll change your oil and I won't look at anything else and I won't see anything else.
Susie, how did you handle that? You had people that because we've been doing DVI, comprehensive digital inspections, photos, videos for north of 10 years. Did you ever have anybody say, listen, just do me a favor, just replace that right front lug nut. That's all I need. What would you say to somebody like that?
Well, so it goes right back to the education, right? So I understand that you only want to replace the one, but let me tell you what is going to transpire just by replacing one. Eventually, you're going to be doing this, and this, and this, right?
Cecil, do you think a lot of
I think it's
automotive,
delivery.
It's delivery, but we're not setting expectation. I think that's some of what Greg is saying. Is we just do piss poor at the service counter. We're not setting expectations.
But there are too many people in the industry that are willing to change the oil or to drag you in on a cheap oil change.
I'm coming after you. I see you. You guys are
and bait and switch.
Yeah, bait and switch.
Oh God, we were just having that conversation. Oh.
And there are coaching companies that are teaching, run a $20 oil change special and get people in and then look at their car.
Yep.
And if you find one thing, go out and tell the customer about that. And if the customer doesn't buy that one thing, send them away. You're wasting your time. Don't waste your time with that person.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I got to stop this. Cecil, though, the consumer, I don't have the full-on definition of consumerism, the belief of consumers. But isn't it a logic that consumers feel like if they're shopping at Safeway or Rite Aid or whatever, they're buying a tangible, an orange, some pharmaceuticals, whatever they're buying, but they don't decipher the difference between service and, by the way, I'm getting coupons for everything. That's the normal way of doing business in this society for capitalism. Is that right?
Not really. You're going to go out to dinner tonight. You want to go, I don't know,
Cecil, just say you're going to go out to dinner tonight at Singing Pandas.
Okay,
let's use Singing Pandas.
Singing Panda. Why are you going to Singing Pandas? Is it the cheapest place?
Oh, gosh, no.
Oh, be careful.
Turn my microphone off.
She's got silky smooth egg rolls.
It's a valid question. When I go out to dinner, I go out to places I like where the service is good and the food's going to be good.
Well,
I'm number one in best agent, number one in best takeout.
You are.
Right.
But hang on, Cecil, does that change demographically? Is that an argument?
I'm not trying to take away from the Singing Pandas. It sounds great. I can't wait to be there and eat it.
I can't wait either.
What I'm saying is, why is the expectation at an automotive shop, I'm going to go there because they're cheap, and then I'm going to expect that I'm going to get a good steak, right? Or a good meal.
Hey, Greg Buckley, lower your background, buddy. I don't know if you're working out with dumbbells, working on those biceps.
I'm cooking my pizza.
Oh!
Hey, this is a national live radio show, and you over here baking. What kind of pizza?
Man.
What are you cooking over there? What are you cooking?
I got some flatbread pizzas I make.
Wait a minute. Did you know you can make a pizza in a GS Lexus now?
Oh, really? What?
Oh, that was going to be my word, automotive news, but you skipped it.
All right. Well, hang on. Cecil makes a good point, and I think this is serious. We're going to have fun with it because that's a bit of therapy for us to release, and I get it. But there are people right now driving that have had enough, and I want to put this in two camps. Enough because of poor service, literally. Nobody called, nobody communicated. And then you've got the second camp, Cecil, that says they ripped me off because of price. What's the problem with that? Well, I mean, why do consumers believe or have the ideology to believe that everything was based on price? Like I paid a little less for my oranges at Food City.
So hang on, Frank. So I'm online looking at one of the podcasts online. I'm on one of our automotive forums, and somebody goes, "Hey, this guy just ripped someone off because they charged XYZ." They have no idea what the guy's costs are. They have no idea what the guy really did, and they're flipping their gums, saying that the guy got ripped off because he paid, I don't know, $300 for whatever it was. I don't understand that.
Well,
if I go to McDonald's, I know what I'm going to pay, and I know what I'm going to get.
I think there's a vicious cycle. I want to interject and kind of flow with you a little bit, Cecil. And you see this. And again, we're not trying to beat it up. We're probably not going to change a whole lot of behavior. We're going to bring some awareness for the consumer. And definitely, if you're listening to this on the replay as a service operated facility, there's no reason for you to have pain because you just don't know what the next steps are. You should never give up in your business for both the time and money that you deserve. Number one in this sanity. But I had a guy post on our Facebook, reputable guy out of California. Won't mention names. Greg, stop working out. I can hear it in the background. Take it easy on that.
Sorry, man. I'm trying to be as quiet as possible.
No, you're good. It sounds like you got the CEO over there you're cooking for, our little granddaughter there. Hey, but seriously, so he posts up what is wrong with these oil lube shops. You can't find quality help anymore. And I'm like, I normally don't get busy on Facebook. All right. I really don't. But what happens, Cecil, is you feel a little animated and you feel like, oh, I got to say something. There is a vicious cycle that speaks to what Cecil's talking about. And you have one person saying they overcharged. Well, what if that person is paying a livable wage to the employees to be able to understand 60 million lines of code on your 2019 Camry or what have you? Cecil, you're speaking on that, and that's a vicious cycle. How does the consumer separate themselves in making a decision for quality service? What do they need to look for?
I think you need to find somebody that you feel you can trust. And it's not going to be the cheapest guy in town. It's going to be the best communicator. It's going to be the person that is the most professional. It's going to be the person that tells you things that maybe you don't want to hear, but you need to hear. And if you base your decision on the price, you're going to be disappointed a lot. I mean, if you base your decision on, wow, I really feel like they're looking out for me. I really feel like they're giving me good information that, and that they're helping me make the best decision because I have all the information. That's the place that you want to be, right? And if we were smart on the automotive side, we that's who we would become, right? Because that's the place that the consumer's going to come in and feel good about what they did. And you won't be the cheapest. You probably may not be the most expensive, but you're going to, I'm here to take care of the client and the client's car. That's my job. not to be the cheapest or not to, even necessarily make you feel good. If I can't make you feel good, I need to make you understand what's going on. If you go to a doctor and, I've got a spot on my forehead. I was just at the doctor and he's like, hey, you need to go see the skin specialist. If your doctor didn't tell you that because he didn't want to upset you, is that a good doctor? No. You still there?
Yeah. No, I'm listening.
Okay. And so I just think, man, you and I see it all the time in the shops. We see cars that have been worked on by somebody that didn't know what they were doing. Either it's a do-it-yourselfer that did it, or it's another shop where they didn't have a qualified person. What makes you think at a quick lube oil change where you're getting a cheap oil change? I'm like, where was that guy working? How much experience does he have? That's a $100,000 automobile. I'm driving around in a truck it's a $90,000 truck, and I'm sure as heck not going to take it to the local quick lube because I don't feel like that's the best place for that truck to be. Right? It's a heck of an investment, and I want someone that's going to understand the truck that has experience that can communicate with me and make me feel like they give a crap about me and my business and my truck. And that, by the way, that's also not the dealership here in Utah. So unfortunately, it's a local independent that, I went through 5 or 6. And by the way, how'd you like to be my shop, right? Where I'm going to bring my vehicle to you.
We would have a lot of documentary in my comments section on your profile there, Mr. Cecil.
Yeah, and I'm one of the most discerning, but I'm also like, okay, if it needs to be done, Frank, and you're telling me it needs to be done, go do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Psychologically, though, if I did buy a car for $1 and agreed to lifetime advertisement, do I care?
You
If I
won't
paid $1?
buy a car for $1 because they're never going to sell you a car for $1. They can sell you a car for $50,000 and still give you the advertising.
Yeah, this was
right.
It was a $1 car
Right?
theory. It was just a brief conversation, but
Yeah, I was listening to that.
we are the Institute. We are the Institute.com. Listen, all my automotive familia. Cecil, you've been around. I've got to ask you, you've done some amazing things. I go back with you many, many years. Was honored to have you at our Chandler location. God, I want to say you stopped by probably about 15 years ago or so, maybe in that time frame.
Might be 20, Frank. We're all
Might be
getting older.
20. We're getting, I know I'm getting a little forgetful. Why are you so jazzed up to coach and make folks better?
My father was a shop owner who didn't have money and didn't have time for his family. He's too busy trying to run the shop, didn't know how to really, wasn't a businessman. He was a good technician. As a young man, I missed my dad. I resented the fact that we were always broke, that he had to be at work, 14 hours a day, 6.5 days a week. And if I can save one son or daughter of a shop owner from going through that because I can help them understand how to run a good business and have a life outside of the shop, then I have spent my life in a very valuable way. And
That's powerful.
That's us. That's what we're all about. That's the Institute. Our mission statement is better business, better life, better industry. We know that when you know how to run your business, I've worked with thousands of shops. Frank, you know this. When you know how to run your business, you can be profitable and you can go home at 5:30 and spend time on the weekends with your kids.
Oh my goodness! It's so powerful what you said there.
Yeah.
I missed the first 5 years back in the mid '90s.
Yeah.
As a younger mid 20s operator, you're in business and you get that one job and you're like, oh, I got that job, and then everyone's your friend because you're cheap, and it was bad. And we didn't have much. Kudos. We had Mitch Schneider on the show several years back, but I was reading Mitch Schneider. Mitch is just a legend in our industry, but he would write these articles and I would read the articles over donuts in the morning and, all right, I'm not the only crazy guy in this business. Hey, he's gone through some stuff, but we didn't have like the vastness of the internet and And I do want to give a shout out, Cecil. You have assembled because, you're not a one-man show. And
No.
I don't think to affect, and you get this, we're not trading hours for dollars. And you knew not only am I going to create a fantastic education and / coaching and service advisor, and you have the big yearly powwows we're going to talk about in a minute. But I want to recognize folks that you have assembled because you have an amazing talent pool. Let's give some shout outs. Let's start with your son.
Oh, Kent is 30, mature like he's 50, and he's smarter than I am every single day of the week, and amazing. He's going to run this company for the next 30 years and take it to heights I never even imagined. So yeah, we have Kent. He's been with me for 12 years now, working. Knows every aspect of our business. Really great with leadership, management, stuff like that, because that's what he does here. We have Michael Smith. He's an M&A guy. If you're looking to build a platform, Michael's one of the smartest guys I've ever met in my life.
That's hot topic. It's hot topic right now.
Yeah.
Regarding
and
net
seeing,
multiplier and what that could look like. Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing better multipliers now than we have ever had the opportunity to see in our industry because of almost because of COVID and some of the changes that have come on. And that's another whole nother hour of whatever. We've got, Aaron Woods, a guy who runs shops. I've got Jimmy Lee, who's one of the best known guys in the industry for marketing.
I love Jimmy Lee.
All right, we need to stop the presses right there.
Stop
it right now. Jimmy Lee. Jimmy.
Yeah.
That man it's like, where's Waldo? Jimmy's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Big shout out to Jimmy Lee. I believe he may be listening. He may be catching the replay. And I gotta say this, Cecil, because it's one thing as we all are, we come up with this sort of starts as a vision, and then we get excited, and then we implement, and everyone talks strategy, but really it's about tactic. What are we going to tactfully do to get to our strategy? And you've assembled a team, and between Kent and Michael and Jimmy, I mean, that's enough. And I say this for those in the industry that are listening. I'm not saying we're grocery shopping or anything like that regarding how well we want to invest in ourselves. We all need coaching. It's therapy. It's all kinds of stuff. If you want to continue drinking that bottle. Hey, by the way, I'm going to switch gears hardcore. Cecil, didn't our industry have a drinking problem back in the day? I think it's coaches like you that have saved us from stuff like that.
I'm not sure we still don't have a drinking problem.
Doesn't everybody have a bottle in their toolbox?
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of shop owners that have figured out how to really run their businesses and have a life outside their business because they've had coaching by good coaches and good companies that really care about this industry and care about, their success.
We were old R.L. O'Connor when Bob O'Connor was alive, and there was a big difference between what standard accounting is and automotive accounting, and really understanding. And a lot of you folks that are going in for service at a lot of these independents, a lot of it's broken because they don't understand their numbers. And this may sound odd to a lot of you, they don't know what to charge to officially sustain hiring the proper qualified help, to sustain the edifice of a building that doesn't smell like a smoke factory, to sustain the right type of messaging for what you deserve as a consumer, not just a loss leader of a $9 oil change. I don't even know. Have you seen a $9 oil change? No, never. You have. Yeah. But my point is, these are things that you learn and grow on. And Cecil, you put together a team for that. I want to give you one more chance. And I know Greg, we're going to sign off. Greg's cooking. Check on Greg. Greg, what are you doing? You got pepperoni on that yet?
Pepperoni, I got long hots, I got mozzarella. I'm good.
All right. If you're in Wilmington, Delaware, you go out and see the Buckley tribe. Buckley's been in business since 1776. In fact, some of their technicians had wooden teeth back in the day. Do you still got your set there, Mr. Buckley?
Yeah, I do.
All right. I love you, brother. You're doing great things in Wilmington. I really an honor to have you come in and join Cecil.
Love you, Greg.
Well, it's an honor to talk to him. He's a heck of a great guy, great coach, great company. He knows how to do it, and he's an icon, like I said. So, Cecil, good talking with you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Cecil, let's talk real quick. There's two things I want to allow you to sort of get out there because we talked about how some of this consumer experience is broken, and it's broken in the service operations. You have two things that really got me excited. Number one, you said front counter, those people on the front line, the receptions, if you will. What are you doing in the coaching aspect for that? You have a service advisor session, coaching session?
Yeah, we have a program for service advisors where they have their own coach. We listen to their calls. We look at their numbers. We help them learn how to communicate better, how to have better processes, create better expectations, make sure they're clear, et cetera. And that works really well. We also have a 5-day service advisor intensive where we take, newer, probably service advisors and bring them up to speed about how the business runs, why we do what we do, what makes sense, and what will create a better experience for the consumer, for the client. And so, yeah, I think we have the best program in the industry. Of course, I would say that because I wrote most of it myself.
I can vouch for it. I can vouch for it. I'll tell you why, because I know a lot of these rock star shop owners who are all about getting better for themselves. They're not perfect human beings, and they've got a lot of humility. And I think a lot of that's true. If you're that individual listening right now and you got it all, your shower temperature is just perfect. Wait till that shower comes out piping hot and you can't figure it out. This is why we have a coach. It's not because you're broken as a spirit. It's because at times things can get broken haywire, and what do? And you've got a nice network. We are the Institute.com. Cecil, I love you, man. You're doing so much good for the industry, and I appreciate you hanging with Wrench Nation.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Appreciate you, family. Get on over to Singing Pandas for more details. I'll have that in show notes. Aiden, you're a rock star. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
DJ AC on the board. You're a rock star. Thank you so much. Honor to spend it with you guys every week. As I tell you every week, be safe. Hug each other, and never forget to hug a mechanic.